AnYes, and welcome to Entrepreneurcast. It's such a great pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Svietlana. I can only say that this is a real pleasure as well. Thank you for having me.
So, AnYes, before we get started with the business side of things, tell us a little bit about who are you outside of your business and what do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Well, I am beside business. I'm a mom of two, which are obviously quite adults now. So my son is 30, my daughter is 25. The good news is that I come from France. My son is still in France, but my daughter has now arrived in London 3 months ago as well. She has a job here, so I'm absolutely delighted. I would say that I am a personal development junkie. So I read a lot, personal development related. I enjoy nature. I love walking. I think and continuously building my business. These are the major things that I'm doing because, my work doesn't feel like work. I'm just passionate about it. So, I have absolutely no problem continuing to strategize and stuff like that over the weekend or in the evenings, etc. Feels good.
So tell us all about your business. What is it that you do and what inspired you to start it?
It's quite a long journey already. I started a reconversion something like by now 10 years ago. I was in the corporate world, had that nagging feeling that there must be more to life. So ended up getting trained, etc. I did a reconversion, but then set up my business as an executive coach in France, working with the corporate world, leadership development, change management, etc. And something like 8 years ago, not 8 years ago, sorry, I did that for 8 years, and something like then, what shall I say? 2 to 3 years ago, I decided that this wasn't working for me because the thing is, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I absolutely love working with women and with entrepreneurs. And there aren't that many at top level in the corporate world. So decided to reposition myself. Over the years, I've developed a framework that I'm working with. I have a holistic approach. So I work with entrepreneurs, but in all areas of their life, even if my focus is business and more specifically the core of what I do is everything around personal branding and visibility. But we work on all areas of your life so that you can actually create a business that will sustain the life that you want for yourself without giving up who you are and what's important to you. Hence the name of my business, Success on Your Own Terms. So it says what it does on the tin, success, whatever it means to you, but not at any cost. You decide what you want to create. I wear a double hat. I'm also the owner of a female business network in central London. I'm running 6 groups, 90 ladies currently, and we're still growing. Everything about what I do has everything to do with helping women, in particular women, reach their full potential in life and in business. And that is because I believe in the power of role modeling and the power of the ripple effect. I believe that's how women will change the world.
Amazing. And, obviously, you, as you said, you wear quite a few hats and you're a mom. So what would you say your typical day looks like between all those hats and between, spending time with your kids?
Well, the spending time with my kids obviously has become completely different. I mean, I'm not living with them. They are adults. So that has become completely different. The key to, I would probably say, my success and my balance in life is probably in my morning routine. I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm a miracle morning type of person. And I spend the first 3 hours of the day with me and myself only. So it's all about gratitude, journaling, setting an intention for the day, affirmations and stuff like that. So I really start my day in a very slow movement. very peaceful, and it really sets the tone for my day. And then because I have two hats, obviously delegation is an important part of it. So whatever can be delegated, I delegate. I have currently the priority on developing my network, because I have taken over that network only 15 months ago. But it has become far easier, because I'm not myself actually developing it anymore. It's my members sending people to me, but I speak to every single potential visitor prior to their visit, so that is time consuming, but I want to make sure that we're aligned, that we are looking for the same things. I'm building a community of women who actually want to support each other. I'm a firm believer in the motto, behind every successful woman is a tribe of successful women who have her back. And so once I've worked or have put all of that on track in my day, I am working on my other business, so my personal branding and visibility activity.
AnYes, throughout our entrepreneurial and business journey, we come across a lot of challenges. What would you say the greatest challenge you came across, and how did you manage to overcome it?
That will be a very interesting one. I arrived in London 20 months ago, homeless at 58, with 2 suitcases and a backpack. I had actually left a toxic relationship, had lost absolutely everything, moved in with my sister for 1 year. And instead of looking at it from the angle of victimhood, I saw it as an amazing opportunity to reconsider all my choices in life and business. So the first choice was to stop working with the corporate world, which was a very scary decision, because that could have brought in money. Because I was renegotiating a very big contract with an oil and gas company in Budapest. And I picked up my phone and I said, I'm no longer working with the corporate world, but it felt so incredibly good. It was the right thing to do for me. The second choice I made was to move to London, because the thing is that I've lived most of my life in France, and I've never felt home there. My roots are Dutch. Both my parents were Dutch. I grew up bilingual, bicultural. I've lived in the Netherlands for 8 years as well. I've never felt home in the Netherlands. And my daughter was back then studying at London School of Economics. And she said, but Mummy, London is so much you have to come here. So I decided to come to London, but I absolutely had no income. I had restarted my business. And I started with 8 weeks of house sitting. And within 6 months' time, I had already managed to turn that completely around and buy a franchise. The network is a franchise, without the first cent to buy it. And it's extremely expensive. So where a quote unquote normal person would have said, oh my God, what a shame, I would love to, but I can't. I thought there must be a solution, and I found it, and it was accepted. And so, as I said, I started the network 15 months ago. How I did it, essentially by, the key is I have a vision. I have a very strong vision. I'm very connected to it. So that's the first one. And the second one is feel the fear and do it anyway. Because you can imagine that arriving at 58 homeless, asking yourself every month, how will I be able to pay a rent? How will I actually be eating? I wasn't in the street, very important. I wasn't in the streets, but still, I had to live. You can imagine that I woke up more than once at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with a pounding heart, wondering how I would handle it. But if you focus on the fear, you only make it worse. So I focused on the vision instead. And as I said, within 6 months, I've turned the situation completely around.
Amazing. So AnYes, on the bright side of things.
Oh, this is a bright side. Let me come back to that. For me, this toxic relationship is the best thing that could happen in my life, because without it, I would not be who I am today. The very first day I arrived in London, I felt home. And since, every single day, I have always felt happy. I don't know if you've noticed how I spell my first name, ANYes. I live in a world of possibilities, and that makes all the difference. So my life is bright. There is a bright side, absolutely.
So I was going to ask, what would you say was your greatest success? But I guess that was it.
That was the answer. Completely. No. I've never regretted it. It's the best thing that I could do. And I feel amazing, and everything is coming my way. I am a very strong believer in the law of attraction, and in attracting to yourself. I mean, if you focus on the right things, they can only expand. So yes, my life as it is today definitely is my biggest success, after raising my kids, of course.
And yes, as entrepreneurs, we do come up with a lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you say you come up with your best ideas?
One thing that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do, and I would even say most people, it's not even necessarily true in entrepreneurship, it's also in, when you have a job, is step back and reflect. Take the time to step back and reflect. One of the things that I help my clients do, I told you I have a holistic approach, is to teach them how every year again, so let's assume their business is already existing. Every year again, take the time to step back, set the intention for what you want to achieve that year, and that's at all levels. I mean, the practical things, but also financial goals and etc. And then break it down and follow up and see, okay, what do I need to do within the next 6 months, and what do I need to do within the next 3 months, and what do I need to do this month, and what do I need to do this week and today. That's why I'm saying set an intention for every single day. But the interesting part with all of that is that the trick is to actually do so while at the same time being detached of the outcome. Otherwise you keep clinging onto it, and then it becomes a fear, in fact, based approach. So the key is at the same time to be detached of it and go with the flow. And I would say be able to, what your end vision is, but be able to adapt the journey as you go, because life will stand in the way.
Definitely. AnYes, you have a very inspirational story. Yeah, I'm sure that, you're inspiring a lot of people. But you yourself, do you have people that inspire you, or so-called personal heroes?
I would say that my very first personal hero is a personal one. And she's no longer here, but for me, she's always there. It's my grandmother, my mother's mother. This is a person who, from child onwards, she's always inspired me. She represents what I want to be. And she is a mix of, I would say, 3 essential qualities for me. And that is, so maybe that's a French side in me to that extent. Elegance, refinement, but love, a lot of love, and you combined to humility. These for me are essential. And then if I then look at how can I say, the more public type of role models. I'm a very strong believer. I spoke already about role modeling and sharing stories. I think that for me, it's all about walking your talk, be the change you want to see in the world. So definitely for me, 2 people stand out. Gandhi, of course, and Nelson Mandela. Interesting enough, both are men, where I'm fascinated about women. So interesting enough. So there are others, of course, but in the sense of what I want to achieve in my life and what I want to personify, these are the 2. Yeah.
Incredible. AnYes, you lived a long life. You have years and years of experience and wisdom. So, out of your journey and your experience and wisdom that you gained, would you share with us your top three tips and strategies for any entrepreneur or business owner going forward in life?
I think that I probably have given them already, which is not surprising given that's what I believe in. The very first one is to have a vision. The second one is, I would almost say, don't let anyone tell you that your dream is impossible. So feel the fear and do it anyway is the second one. The third one is to take focused action. The key, I think that at some point, where we are at in life is a result of our choices. But most of us make choices that are not conscious choices. We let others and circumstances dictate what our life should look like. And I've done that most of my life. But I've now very consciously stepped out of that. I'm taking charge. I'm looking for answers inside, not outside of me. And with that, the result is that I'm the one creating my reality, but consciously this time. And that makes all the difference. So that time to step back and reflect also, and that's a continuous process. It's not something that you do just once in a while. When I said earlier on that I set an intention in the morning, in the evening I ask myself, what was my intention and how did it work? So I will congratulate myself for what worked. But what didn't work, instead of beating myself up, I then think to myself, okay, principle of progression, what can I change tomorrow to make it work? So constantly readapting.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And AnYes, did you come across any sort of resources that helped you within your business to basically make your life easier?
Within my business, you say?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, personally, it's everything to do with meditation and gratitude. That definitely. Business-wise, so when I say that I have a very complete approach, that's probably the Dutch part in me. I'm very structured, organized, systems, tools, etc. So systems and tools. I hate wasting time. So I automate everything that can be automated. I delegate everything that can be delegated. And because the key, in fact, is that you work on what you do best and what you enjoy doing most, because that's where you will be performing at best. All the rest you should get rid of. And the thing is also, if we look at it from the angle of financially, if you know the value of 1 hour of your time, which you should know, and when I say you, of course, I mean one in general, then everything that another person can do for cheaper than 1 hour of your time is something that you should delegate. So delegation is absolutely a key. The trick is here again that entrepreneurs, when they get started, they look at it from the angle of I don't have money. Where in reality, so you shouldn't look at it from the angle of cost, but from the angle of an investment. And there are certain sacrifices to be done at the beginning. But if you make the right choices again, you will see that it pays off and very quickly.
Thank you for sharing that again, AnYes. AnYes, I come across a lot of people who say that at some point of life, they came across a book that changed their life. Did you have such a book? And if you did, what was it?
Wow, so many. The one that I think has probably had the most impact on me, a lot of books did have an impact, but the one that started shifting a lot of things, because it helped me realize or understand that all my beliefs were based on the wrong things, and like most of us, it's a book called Why Quantum Physicists Do Not Fail by what's his name, Greg Kuhn. It is in essence explaining quantum physics in a very simple way that makes it very accessible. And then once you start understanding that, I mean, it has shifted everything for me completely. So that is probably the one, yes, yeah. But there are many others.
Awesome. Thank you for that. AnYes, you came to London, you restarted the whole thing. You moved really fast in a very short period of time, I would say. But what is next for you? What's your next big goal, dream, aim? And if there was somebody listening today who could potentially help you get there, who would it be?
Let's think. My goal, which is already my current goal, by the way, given I only restarted so recently. The network, as I took it over, has the potential to be 18 groups big, and that represents 450 ladies. So my intention is absolutely to have it, because as I mentioned, I am building a community of women who support each other. And in parallel, my business will support that, because I have given myself a goal of 2 years and that's a mindset thing, because I also work with my clients on their mindsets. You can imagine that if I've come where I am today, absolutely is based on mindset. My goal is to turn all those members in 2 years' time from a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. If I manage to arrive in London with just 2 suitcases, but with an abundance mindset, it shows that abundance is not only a matter of financial wealth in financial terms, but by having that abundant mindset, you will be attracting the financial aspect of things as a consequence. But I do see, as I mentioned earlier on, I do see a lot of women in particular approaching their business from the angle of cost. They are complete. Let me rewind a little bit. Most of women have a very truncated relationship with money, and money is never about money. Money is about self-worth, self-confidence, and stuff like that. Once you start understanding it, you can shift it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, AnYes. AnYes, we're coming to the end of the show, but before we say our goodbyes, is there anything else you would like to share with us or advise on today?
Dare believe in yourself and go for it, and don't let anyone stop you, because the thing is, we're surrounded by people who actually quite often mean things well for us, so when we have this dream, whatever the dream is, and we want to go for it, they will stop us, and so they will stop us because they love us. They are afraid of the potential consequences for us. Imagine how my family and friends were when I told them that I was moving to London with nothing. So that was a stupid thing to do, etc., etc. But the other thing is that for some people, you are confronting them with the things that they would love doing, but they're too afraid to do. So all of that means that you absolutely need to surround you with like-minded people, and make sure that as much as possible, the people that are in your life that could be toxic, but toxic as in stopping you from achieving whatever it is you want to achieve, just do your best to have as little of them in your life, but surrounding you with like-minded people is essential.
Definitely agree with that. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, AnYes. For anyone who would like to get in touch with you or follow you in any shape or form, what's the best way to do that?
Probably via my website first, AnYesvanRhijn.com, and that is AnYesvanRhijn.com, because on there you get all the links to, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, other Pinterest, etc.
Amazing. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a great pleasure to have you, AnYes. Great stuff and advice. Thank you for that. And I really look forward to meeting in person.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really think it's key that women share their stories more often, because women tend to believe that they're the only one experiencing whatever they are experiencing. And when we start sharing our stories, they see that they are not alone. Thank you for having me.